Welcome to Fear Free Friday and a quote from Roy T. Bennett. Courage is the power to overcome fear, to face adversity with determination, and to never give up. I mean, of the everything in that quote, which is all great stuff, that's the part that I like best. Never give up. If I don't quit, my success is guaranteed. It's really that simple. If I just keep moving one step forward, I will reach the end of my journey. It's inevitable. And I love inevitable. I love guaranteed success. It's part of why I do this. It's all part of helping keep me on the right path. So if you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Christopher Diarmani, and it is my pleasure, it is my passion to empower aspiring Christian nonfiction writers to share their trauma to triumph story, that journey, using a complete, detailed roadmap for writing success so they can write, finish, and publish their book, and in so doing, make the impact they know they were born to make in this world. That's the point of it all. Let me go there so you can see this brave young lady on a tightrope rocking across in front of a bunch of falls. I think there's a great deal in that photo, in that image, that could cause someone to be afraid. And yet, look at her go. I love that. Because for me, that's the embodiment of writing a book. We're out on a high wire all by ourselves with no net, and we don't know what's going to get us across that wire. All we know is you have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Because writing your book demands immense courage. It demands courage to expose your insights, to be really vulnerable, to be willing to share your own insights from your own experience that someone else may not agree with. That takes courage. It takes a lot of courage. And it also takes an immense amount of courage to persevere despite all the roadblocks that tend to pop up in our way when we're trying to do something really, really extraordinary, like writing a book. So fear is just your lizard brain trying to keep you safe from the unknown. Honestly, that's all it is. It fears everything it doesn't know anything about, and it thinks that if it can just keep you trapped in a little comfort zone, that somehow nothing bad can happen to you. And that may be true, but nothing good can happen to you there either, because there's no challenge, there's no fulfillment there, because everything is handed to you. You don't have to go do anything, and just being safe is probably. I liken the comfort zone to the place where all my dreams go to die. If I want to live a life of abject failure, of uselessness, of not doing anything, then the comfort zone is absolutely the place to go, because, my favorite beverages are always cold or hot, depending on whatever I feel like that day. My onion rings and my potato chips are always at hand. There's sour cream to go with them all, and my favorite shows are always on television. And I never have to go anywhere. I never have to go shopping, because this stuff just all magically appears. That's the beauty of the comfort zone. That's also the danger of the comfort zone. Is it's so easy to get trapped there, and then you and your book are trapped on someday I'll. Someday I'll write a book. Not if you're stuck there, you won't. You really won't. So it takes immense courage simply to step out of that place of comfort and challenge your fears to see if they're real. Because I know from my own life experience, they're not. They're boogeymen. Like the hands in this image on the screen. They're just boogeymen trying to scare you into compliance, trying to scare you into doing nothing so they can carry on doing whatever they want. That's not a path to fulfillment. But if this is the first time you're working on writing a book, then I think you already know there is so much you don't know. And after you finish your first book, there's still a lot you don't know. And after you write your 50th book, you're still looking for an easier, better, faster, more impactful way to do it. So we're always in a continual place of learning. That's the beauty of the writing process. That's the beauty of this life, is we're always learning, we're always growing. We're always trying to find some new way to face down our fear with courage, with determination, and with gratitude. Thank the fear for showing up and letting you know this is important, because that's really one of the lessons in it, is that it's just a way of telling you that whatever is in front of you to do right now is important, and you don't want to screw it up. That's fine. That's perfectly valid. But grab onto your courage and forge ahead. Do that. But maybe some of those fears that you have are things like, well, how do I write my book? I have no idea. I've never done this before. I don't know what to do. Fair. But you can learn. There's a solution to this problem. How do I write my book? There's all kinds of ways to figure that out. I can help you. Dozens, gazillions of other people can help you as well. Find the person that works for you. Find the person you resonate with. Have them help you. Well, but then, well, what if I can't write this book? That's another fear that comes up a lot. What if I can't do it? Well, I think that's just an excuse for cowardice. I truly do. Because you can write a book. Anyone can write a book. Even the guy who spent 15 years never completing a first draft can write a book and go on to write 50 more. That's my story in a nutshell. I spent a really long time not doing it, 15 years of failure, and yet I still pushed forward because I just wanted to be a writer. I couldn't tell you why. I probably still can't tell you why. Or actually, that's not true. I can tell you why. Today it's because I want to make an impact. I want to help someone else change their life for the better. That's why I write today. But I didn't know that back then. All I knew is that I had no tools, I had no skills, I had no way, no path forward. So when I say that if I can do it, anyone can, I simply mean what I say. That's it. You can do this. Well, what if I write this book and nobody reads it? I love this one because, and this comes from a question that I talked to, there's a young lady in a Facebook group, this is, I don't know, I forget how many years ago now, but her book was written, she had the cover art done, it was beautiful, it was all ready to go, and yet she couldn't hit the publish button in Amazon's KDP dashboard. She couldn't get there. And so I asked her, well, what are you afraid of? And she said, well, what if I hit publish and nobody reads my book? What if nobody buys my book, nobody reads my book? And so I asked her a simple question. Who's reading your book right now? And she replied, well, nobody. And I said, so you're already living your worst fear. What's the worst that can happen? You stay in that worst fear? You're already living the absolute worst case scenario. So hit publish, see what happens. And she did. To her credit, she went and did that. And here's the cool thing. She went on to sell a ton of books. She became a bestseller. That book became a bestseller, and she ended up writing, I think it was 3 or 4 more books in that series, and then started a new series. And yet, she was terrified nobody would read her book, which is insane. She's a great writer. So, whatever your fear is, it may not be on this short list of 3, but whatever it is, it's probably just the boogeyman inside your own head saying, well, just play it safe. Don't take a chance. Well, nothing good comes from not taking a chance. That's where all the fun in life is taking the chance, right? Because your fear doesn't serve you. It really doesn't. It simply stops you from doing the things that are required to write, finish, and publish your book. Thankfully, there's a solution. Thankfully, that solution actually is God. God exhorts us to be strong and courageous over and over and over in the Bible. Dozens of times. I've heard someone say that there is 365 places in the Bible where God exhorts us to be strong and courageous. I haven't done the research to prove that, but I don't doubt it. I know there's dozens and dozens because I go to them all the time. And yet, I want to use 1 Corinthians 16:13 today as one of those many examples. Watch, stand fast in the faith, be brave and strong. Now, we're naturally afraid of anything that we've never done before because we don't know what to do. It's also where we're most alive because we have to pay attention to every little thing. That's the fun of being outside the comfort zone, is that we have to pay attention to everything. Everything, because we just don't know where the next thing's coming from. We don't know what the next little piece of the puzzle is or what the next gem is we're going to find and go, oh my goodness, that's the piece I was looking for, right? We don't know any of this, so we have to pay attention to literally everything. So it's exhausting at times, but it's so exhilarating and so exciting because we never know what's around that next corner. That's the thing to be embraced, not feared. So I wanted to take you back to riding a bicycle. We've all done this. Boys, girls, everyone has. And we had to figure out how to do this. And at first, we had training wheels on the bike, and we would tentatively ride the pedal, push the pedals, and we'd move, and it'd be like, oh, that's an interesting feeling. And then we got so good at doing that part that, well, maybe let's try it without the training wheels and see what happens. And then we do that. And oh my goodness, we make it like 7 feet before we fall over. It's like, oh my goodness, we made it 7 feet. That's awesome. And then we want to try and go further and further until in probably the space of just a few minutes, we go from falling down after 7 feet to going as far as we want and as fast as we want with no fear. We've overcome all of those challenges. But in that overcoming of that fear, in that moment, when you took the training wheels off and you were doing this for the very first time, you were never more hyper aware of your surroundings in your entire life. That much I can guarantee. You're never more focused. You're never more aware. You're never more paying attention to every little thing around you, because who knew where the danger lay? We didn't know. Had to figure it out. But what you realized is that you could do it. And writing a book is no different. You can do that too. It's just another learned skill, just like riding a bike. It's that simple. Writing literally is no different. It's just a skill. So just start. I know that sounds simplistic. It truly does. But in the course of my year, there are days where the hardest thing I do in a day is I start. And let me just go full screen here. And on those days, I simply pick up a simple dollar store 2-minute sand timer. I pick it up, I turn it over, and I put it down, and I lie to myself. I say, Christopher, the only thing you have to do is write for the next 2 minutes. When the sand in that timer runs out, you can quit. And I mean it. In that moment, I actually mean that. Because I know from years of experience that that timer is only designed to get me started. I won't even know when the 2 minutes runs out. I won't have a clue. Because by then, I'll have spent 120 seconds being focused on the thing that's in front of me that is really, really important to do. I have no idea when the 2-minute timer goes up. I don't even care. That's the better part of it. Couldn't care less. So just start. Do whatever it takes to get started. If you have to lie to yourself like I do sometimes, then do it. Why not? These are the little white lies that serve a purpose. And the purpose is to get me started. So persist in the face of every single adversity. Set a deadline for your first draft and don't quit until you get there. And if that means you have to write for 3 hours every day, then figure out how to do that too. There's a way. There is a way. Manuscript math can make it really easy to figure out how long it'll take you to write your first draft based on your specific and unique skills. If you want to know more about that, just direct message me. I'll happily share that with you. It's fun. It's one of my favorite things, actually. So yes, making the time to write can be challenging, but figure it out. If figuring out what to write is a challenge, well, then figure that out too. That's the purpose of an outline, to figure some of that stuff out. And just start. That's the best advice I can give you today, is just start. See where that leads you, but set a deadline and don't stop until you get there. If you want to learn more about my process, then just get in contact with me. I would love to show you that. I'd love to help you with that. And I would also love to have you connect with me on social media. If you go to writingcoach.pro/Christopher, you'll find links to all my social media accounts there. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, on everything you see there on the screen. And I also have a couple of little tidbits that I offer for free to help you get jump started on your journey down publication highway. Because if God's placed a book on your heart to write, then I want to do everything I can to help you get there. That's my mission in life, is to help you get there. And courage is one of my favorite tools for that. It truly is. I'll just leave it at that. Courage, grab onto. This is Fear-Free Friday. It's the day we're called to be courageous, in my world at least. And remember that we're called throughout the Bible to be strong, courageous, and to be unafraid. We're not meant to live in fear. We're meant to live in courage and in strength and in power and in knowledge. Living in fear, leave that for someone else. You don't need it. I'm here again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'm here every day at 3 o'clock, and I'd love to see you then as well. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye for now.